In today's video, I'm going to show you the powerful BRRRR strategy. And rather, if you're a new investor or a seasoned investor, I'm going to show you how to build a thriving rental portfolio with this strategy. Also, I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. I know this strategy can be so complex and confusing, but what I want to do is I want to make real estate investing simple for you so that you want to get in the game and execute this particular strategy. Now, if you don't learn this strategy, what will happen is you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. And I don't want you to miss out on a lot of opportunities because, with real estate, a property could be worth, $100,000 today. And then 5 years later, that same property could be worth $350,000. And it doesn't make sense to cash flow that property. Now, where I want to get you to is I want you to find the right rental properties, okay? And with the right rental properties, people talk about, hey, make sure your properties cash flow at minimum $200. No, I want you guys to get stuff that cash flow, $400, $500, especially if you're trying to leave your job. Because if you're trying to leave your job or replace your job income, $200 a door cash flow on single family properties, man, it'll take a long time to get there. But if you're buying the right properties that make a lot of sense, then you can get to your goal quicker, of whether it be for retirement, whether it be to replace your job income, or you just want to build passive income. So listen, it's extremely important to do your research in your market, right? You want to educate yourself, okay? There's a famous quote: formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. All right, so therefore, what you want to do is you want to study your market. What is your market? Well, wherever you think you want to buy rental properties at, right? So hypothetically speaking, I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? So being that I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? Where do I want to buy? Where do I feel comfortable? Notice I said I. Now, what I want you to do is repeat that to yourself. So where do you feel comfortable at, right? So with me, I used to love to target low income areas because the properties were cheap and the returns were higher, So therefore, I would go into essentially what is the hood, right? And then I would buy based off the city plan, right? So every city, especially every major city, they have a 10-year outlook of how that city is going to look. Charlotte is on 2040, okay? You could get this 2030 plan. You can see it online to see what does the city plan to do in certain areas, and you can start buying rental properties in those areas, okay? Some cities, the major cities, they mostly have it online. The smaller cities, you might have to go down to the zoning department to look at it, okay? So you want to do your research, and also in your research, you want to see all right, what does, in this particular zip code, what are the rent ranges, okay? Okay, these are the rent ranges, so that's going to put you in the mindset, all right, if I can get $1,200 for rent for a 2-bedroom in this area, ideally, if I can get a deal for all in, $80,000, $90,000, that's a great return. Or even if I get the deal all in for $100,000, that's a great return. So, you just want to make sure that you do your research. All right, now let's get into the BRRRR strategy. Let's start with the B. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to buy value add real estate. What is value add real estate? Well, value add real estate is real estate that you have to force the appreciation. What does that mean? I got to force the appreciation. So for example, right, this house behind me is 800 square feet, right? Fixed up, it's worth about $270,000 for 800 square feet in this area, okay? So I know some of you like, what? That sounds crazy. Well, we're in the outskirts of downtown, and the closer you get to downtown, the more expensive the real estate is these days. Let's say I bought this property for $130,000 as is, okay? All right, guys, so remember I said this property is worth $270. Well, I want to be all in $189,000 for this property worth $270,000. Where did I come up with that number? Because I want to be 70% all in. What does all in mean, right? So with all in, that means I want to be of the $270,000 is worth, okay? I want to be all in about $189,000. I have the property under contract for $140,000. So I got about $49,000 to fix this baby up and rent it out, Now, in this particular area, this is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I could get a little bit more rent in this area, right? So let's say that I can get in this area $2,000 a month in this particular area. This is a specialty area here in Charlotte, right? Let's say I can get $2,000 a month in this area for this property. Well, what does that mean, right? So what that means is, what I want you to do, ARV was 270. So 270 times 0.7. 70% of 270, that should put you at like that 189 mark. So that's how I got my number. So I'm buying it for 140. So I got about $49,000 in budget to play with to fix this property up, right? That's how I want you to look at it going in for the B. So the R is for repair, right? So what is like that repair? What does this mean? Whatever. That means I got to fix this property up with $49,000. It's 800 square feet. So what I can do is I can power wash the front. I could change the windows out. I would like to change the windows out in there, fix some things inside, and I have about $49,000 to do that with, right? Just so that you know, right? When you are the buyer, it's okay, you know what I mean, to bring a contractor with you to do biz while you're under contract so you can get your budgets together, because you will need your budgets together, okay? Now, don't worry. Stay to the end of the video. I'm going to tell you about the financing company that's going to fund everything for you, okay? So don't worry about that. Now, it's important you can bring a contractor with you, or if you have a construction background, you can do it yourself, But when you're talking about buying and renovating properties, you do want an expert opinion, okay? So now we're going to repair it, right? So let's say we got through the repair. What's next? Now we're going to rent it out. So I bought it for 140. Let's say I put $49,000 into it. All right. So I'm at my $189,000, right? So now you're going to rent it out. With this one, I want you to make the decision. Do you want to get property management? Do you want to do it yourself? I use property management for all my single family stuff. Okay. So I use property management for all my single family stuff, all my traditional rentals. I use property management. I want to outsource that. So when you are running your numbers, you want to run your end numbers based off of what property management charge in your area. Do they charge 8%? Do they charge 10%? Do they charge 12%? Well, and that's 10% off the rent. So if this rent's for $2,000, 10% is $200. Okay? Don't be afraid to ask, hey, can you do this one for 8%? Don't be afraid to ask, just ask them or whatever. I'm going to also say stay away from those big, fancy property management companies in your city, because they will nickel and dime you for money, okay? Try to look for a good, established mom and pop property management company, not the big fancy ones, because you will be paying for those big fancy signs they have out around the city in those trucks, okay? So that's you're going to rent it out. So let's say you get to rent it in there. What do you do at that point? Well, now it's time to refinance, okay? Now you're like, well, where do I get the money from? You can go to ifundcities.com. You can ask for my man Eric, okay? And then from ifundcities.com. Now, this is what I didn't mention in the front of the video, but they'll fund for the purchase, for the hard money, okay? So they'll fund for your hard money, all right? So with them funding for your hard money purchase in the beginning, they'll fund you out, depending on your experience. And everything is going to depend on your down payment they might ask for. They're not credit driven, okay? They're not credit driven. They are more asset driven, meaning that they give you a loan based off the asset and not based off you, okay? Now, let's say we are in a hard money loan and they did the whole $189,000, right? All the loan, they did the whole loan, right? So what happens at that point? Well, now what I want to do is I go to iFund Cities and they'll refinance. Now, some people are going to refinance up to 75%, okay? 75%, and some will do up to 70%. But I wanted to use 70% because that's a national rule of thumb. Okay, so now you're in a situation, let's say iPhone City say, hey, we'll give you a 30-year loan up to 75%, okay? Now, what's next? They are going to refinance you. Now, let me tell you what that means. They come back and say, hey, listen, we'll give you up to 75%. Now, you can decline and take less, but 75% of that 280, now we are at 210,000. Remember, we in 189. So now you can take out your money, right? Out the property, you take out your money, plus get some of their money. All right. And now the tenant is paying down the debt service and you have a 30-year mortgage. So you are cash flowing as well. This is the power of real estate. Now, once again, the next letter is R. This R stands for repeat. Why? Because everything that we said we were going to do, we did it, but we're going to do it again, and again. And, we're going to get duplexes. We're going to get quads. A quad is a fourplex. We're going to go after all these things to build out the rental portfolio. Now, do you want to be the real change in your community by fixing up your community, by using the strategy I just taught you? What I want you to do is check out this video next to me, right? And I'm going in on the Section 8 crisis and how you could be a solution to the problem at hand. Click on that video. Make sure you comment. I'm Nasser, aka the real estate guru. I'm not a guru, I'm a guru because I actually do this business. Peace.